Hey guys, so we have an update on the employee that is being bullied still, even after quitting Ador. Yes, the girl who brought up the charges of workplace bullying and sexual harassment over at Ador, which is the label for the K-pop girl group New Jeans, and specifically against Min Hee-jin and her top minion, Executive A. Now, this is one masterclass on how to win against a psycho boss, especially if you really have to take it to the next level on your own, where you're going to have to bring your own firepower and try to either go to court or to the labor ministry, which is what she did. Now, yes, I think Min Hee-jin has met her match, and perhaps that's why she was bullying this employee. And we have a development in what the employee says she's going to do to take it to the next level, especially in response to Min Hee-jin's lengthy, 18-page diatribe this week, trying to defend herself and her actions. So remember, this whole thing came about because Min Hee-jin brought up the Kakao Talk messages that showed this employee, that talked about this employee. Let's call a spade a spade. The way that the employee said that she felt when she opened up the news and she saw herself being talked about, portrayed as a hoe, portrayed as somebody who couldn't do her job, portrayed as somebody who is just vengeful and is just making up false reports in her company out of spite and revenge. She said that essentially how she felt was betrayed at the time, but even more betrayed because now her reputation is smirched. She left the company back in March of this year. She already found a different job. She's in a different position. But she said that, you know what? Everybody around me knows that she's talking about me. And that makes people in her professional world and her professional life look at her in a negative light, because what are they going to do? You know how good Min Hee-jin is at presenting a case and spinning her tails. And so she said that initially she just really had to speak out. So in our last video, we talked about how she spoke out on her Instagram that she made, and that she just outlined what had happened. Well, apparently after she did that, she did get responses from all the parties involved. So on the somewhat good side, she said she got a very terse and short apology from Executive A. She got a message from HYBE saying that, okay, maybe we will reopen this investigation. And then she said she got a 77 message bomb from Min Hee-jin, just screaming and yelling at her over on Kakao Talk as if she's still an employee. And she said that it still did not come with an apology. And not only that, Min Hee-jin took to her own Instagram and released some big old, you know how she just loves to make her word salad into her journal writing for the day or a lifetime. 18 pages, what she got to say? And yeah, looking at some of her words, she's just making issues out of nothing and inventing things and just talking and talking and talking, thinking that maybe something will land with somebody. If you just keep talking, maybe something okay will happen, or you find a way in and you can take control and manipulate the situation. I think that is essentially her credo, and we can see that that's definitely the work culture, where they're having 40-minute discussions just yelling at people or creating issues out of nothing. So the way that I think that this employee is taking it is good, the reason why I think it's good, is that she is finding the right place to launch her fight, and I believe she is clarifying what she is fighting for. In essence, she said from the beginning, she wanted to walk away, and she did walk away quietly until Min Hee-jin brought it out into the public spotlight. She walked away quietly. She tried to be the bigger person. She ended on a very polite, positive note. We saw the evidence of how she talked to everybody, but then we also saw how that goodwill was manipulated by Min Hee-jin to weave a story that Min Hee-jin, was such a great CEO and resolved everything, and this was just a light misunderstanding, ha ha ha. And she's like, no. If I don't speak up, then I look like the crazy one. And Min Hee-jin called me a crazy MFB, like all the 4-letter words in Korean and English, whatever you want to do it, you translate it back and forth, it's all bad. And so she said that she had to stand up and fight. Now, this is the tricky thing. And this is the reason why I think that if you are in a similar situation in your own part of the world, learn from the details that she's using in her specific situation, because you're going to find the devil in the details, quite literally, because the devil loves to be in the details, because they know if you can manipulate the details, you win, even though you're wrong and you are guilty in the overall situation and concept of it all. Min Hee-jin is really good at using the courtroom battle. The law battle sides more with the bullies. Hate to say it. When you kind of think of like that saying, like, to a hammer, everything is a nail, you have to make sure that your nails are going to be, or you're going to go to a place where the hammer favors you. So in Min Hee-jin's situation, the court favors her details and wants to hammer it all in her perspective, because it's like contract law and it leans more towards the preserving the corporation, and you can wiggle out more out of things. The way that this employee is going, she's going to the labor ministry. There's a separate division that handles these disputes that Korea tries to have you go to before going to court. I think it makes a lot more sense, especially from personal experience. From what I found is that you can't really go to the court to sue for an apology, and you can see that this employee really just wants her apology. She doesn't really want money. What the court is really good for is like, okay, you damaged me enough in some situation that has this monetary value that violates this law. Therefore, if I prove it, then you have to pay up. Whereas this employee does not look like she's looking for money. So the ministry, they're going to side more with the workers, because that's what's going to put more food on the bureaucrats' plate, because they need to be looking like they're scoring wins on behalf of labor, whereas the court has a different mentality. So I think that is good. She has clarified that, if she really just wanted money, then she would just I think she would still go to the labor ministry if your statute of limitations didn't run out. So if your statute of limitations didn't run out, go to the labor ministry first, get a positive ruling, then go to court and get your money. But I don't think she's really after money, and I think she's just really after being able to present her case and have some teeth into it. So I think that is very smart of her. So know the right place, know the right forum where your side of the argument is going to be more favorable. And how do you know the litmus test? Again, not about you, not about the unfair situation, and not even about the perpetrator. It's if you're going to go to court, is your situation going to get the judge a promotion? Or is your situation, if you go to the labor ministry, going to get the person handling your case a promotion? So she's very smart to be going to the labor ministry for this. We have a little bit more details on who she is because Min Hee-jin just spilled out her personal details of the employee, and the employee is also more mad about this situation, which is probably why she escalated it. So Min Hee-jin said, like, this employee is not an entry-level person. She's not this junior person. She has 7 years of work experience. Yeah, still, she would be in her late 20s. Maybe she would be 30, but definitely, how is that even a justification for sexual harassment and workplace bullying? The employee also said that, yeah, I do have 7 years of experience. I know what I'm doing, especially when it came to the next detail that Min Hee-jin just spilled out, saying like, this employee was so highly paid because I determined as a fellow woman, on her salary. But then Min Hee-jin also cut without any explanation employee B's salary by 40%. So what Min Hee-jin was trying to do, I've seen this done a lot, and I think this works better in a courtroom situation. She's saying that this employee was my highest paid employee. She made 130 million won a year, about $100,000. She was the highest paid. And so what she's trying to do is trigger totally an emotional response of jealousy. We talked about crabs in a bucket, and yeah, that actually shouldn't go into a very clinical legal situation, but it does. And so what she's trying to do, especially at least with the public opinion, is be like, oh, well, that person was paid a lot, so therefore what? Therefore what? You're leaving that next part open where basically you are now triggering the basest, most vile responses of people, saying like, what? You're supposed to say like, oh, because she made a lot of money, she's supposed to endure bullying and sexual harassment. And in a lot of people's minds, they don't want to admit it. Society doesn't want to admit it, but would be like, well, if she was paid that much money, that's a lot more than I get. Maybe she could put up with, some bullying in the workplace and even sexual harassment. Lord knows I have to deal with that too, and I deal with that without as much money. So you see what she's trying to do? She's trying to then separate this victim from the herd and outcast them. So a 40% pay cut, that would bring it down to 78 million won. And the employee said, yeah, because I've had 7 years of experience, I was earning more than that. So, she was like a star employee. She was somebody who is very highly sought after. She said, I made more than that already, and I took a pay cut to Ador because of my, at the time, really good regard for Min Hee-jin, and she wanted to work with Min Hee-jin. And so she said that, you know what, I also have other job offers for the same amount, if not more. And she said that the employee said that if you do that to somebody, an employee, even if they deserved it, and you just cut their pay by 40%, you're essentially telling them to quit. You're essentially trying to fire them without firing them, because it's really hard to fire employees in Korea. So that's one of the tactics that they would use to make you leave on your own. And she said that, however, that was completely uncalled for, and it was not because of my performance. Min Hee-jin, in her long 18-page recent Instagram post, said that, oh, this employee wasn't performing well and her performance reviews weren't good, so that's why she had to get a pay cut. And because she got a pay cut and her performance reviews weren't good, she didn't leave the company only because of bullying and sexual harassment. She left because she was just bad and couldn't keep up. And the employee was like, no, I have documented on my performance reviews that there were like 5 reviewers, including the executive that was sexually harassing her. She said besides that guy, the other 4 gave her high positive marks or regular positive marks, like way more than somebody who would ever deserve a 40% pay cut and to be reprimanded. And she said there was none because she was a great employee. And on top of that, she didn't leave out this opportunity to throw some shade at Min Hee-jin. She said, and how would even Min Hee-jin know? She works from home all the time and she was barely ever in the office. She barely even saw what I was doing. Yeah, so who's the one not doing their work? Who's the one performing subpar? Min Hee-jin, we already have documented proof of HYBE's performance review of you. They even went to court to try to fire you. And we have documented that you were 10 months late on turning in your own project because y'all was just talking to your shaman and not getting any work done and only spending your time with your executives, not on Ador work, but plotting a takeover, meeting with investors, and then it looks like just copying the concept for your girl group, which has now led you to so much liability and public ridicule. So if you want some example of like what goes on in the mind of Min Hee-jin with her long word salad, she said that, you know what? Yes, so what if I sent 77 messages in response to employee B's Instagram posts? I like to give short but very frequent messages, and that's just my style. And then she said 12 hours later, that's when I got a response from employee B, and it didn't sound like her. It sounded older and sterner, like implying that maybe it was like a lawyer or something responding, like even if it were, like, what does that matter? So you see how she's trying to shift people's attention and just make up weird things that kind of boggle your mind. And she said that, it was surprising because employee B was quoting contents of an email conversation between me and HYBE that I don't know about. Like, what does this even mean? And it doesn't even matter. And so employee B was saying like, you know what, look, I'm done with this. I'm not even going to respond anymore to her craziness. I'm going to prepare my case for the labor ministry, and it is going to focus on the false claims, defamatory statements, and also new defamations in the latest statement by Min Hee-jin that has caused her so much harm. She said, the employee said that, however, this was entirely predictable, and she wants Min Hee-jin to address 3 key points. The employee wants Min Hee-jin to answer. On March 15th, while investigating my report of workplace harassment and sexual harassment remarks, did you call me a psycho? Did you call me mentally ill and other derogatory terms while speaking to the perpetrator, Executive A, and also coaching him on how to handle me? Number 2, was that an impartial stance to take as the CEO of processing my reports of harassment? And number 3, when you publicly disclosed my KakaoTalk messages on July 31st to clear your name, did you ask for my permission or offer any apologies? So you can see how the employee is targeting, really, in terms of this labor situation, the roles and responsibilities of Min Hee-jin as the CEO that may get her into trouble regarding the Labor Act or labor laws. So you can see how this employee is very focused. Yes, she is talking and giving us a good coloring of the story about how emotionally hurt it was, how it damaged her, how shocking it was, how she didn't want to do this. So she's filling in the flesh of the actual kind of feelings of it and not shying away from it at all. But what is very impressive about this employee is that she's also very much focused on where the battlefield is and what the actual battle is going to be. So she talks about how hurt she was and how shocked she was and how it ruins her reputation. But she's also focusing the fight on the actual labor laws and Min Hee-jin's infractions of it. Whereas when you see Min Hee-jin's word salad and just tossing things like all over the place, it is just like verbal diarrhea, and there's really no other strategy except for depositioning your opponent so that your opponent doesn't stay focused on the actual infractions that would leave Min Hee-jin liable. So that is Min Hee-jin's approach, is to try to have her opponent react to her outlandish claims. And if you get stuck in that trap, because that's what, no matter what country you're in, that's going to be the main strategy, is to knock you off your game, get you to throw down your sword and be like, wait a minute, no, no, that's not how it went. You never want to be in that situation. You want to always keep your sword and your whatever the weapons you have in your hand and just go and attack and have the psycho boss be the one in the defensive and reactive situation. So if you look at this case, the true underdog is employee B. The true underdog of a female young employee in Korean corporate culture fighting against the system is actually employee B. It is definitely not Min Hee-jin. Min Hee-jin is a wolf in sheep's clothing, and what are the green striped shirt she has of the day and a baseball cap. She is not the real deal. The real deal was her victim, and her victim was gonna walk away quietly, but now she wants to defend her honor and reputation, and she wants some accountability now, the accountability that she was not able to get during the formal investigation when she brought it up internally in the company. It could have all been resolved inside HYBE on whatever floor, just pick a floor, okay? It could have been resolved on any of those floors quietly, but no, now it has to come out like this, and I'm glad she is standing up. She has nothing to lose. She has everything to gain because she has to preserve. Actually, she does have something to lose if she doesn't speak up, is that she's just gonna be at the mercy of however Min Hee-jin decides to paint her as. And we already know from the Kakao Talk messages, Min Hee-jin has already gone and badmouthed employee B as a psycho, as a B, as a hoe, as just a bad worker, revengeful, like just painting her so horribly. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And I think she did exactly what somebody in that generation now needs to do. Go to your own social media, control your own message, it's your own platform, and collect your receipts and take it to the customer service counter that actually is going to accept those receipts in your favor, which is she's doing very smartly with the labor commission. And at the end of this message, this new message that employee B said, oh, she threw out another piece of shade. She said to Min Hee-jin, if you have any sense of shame, please refrain from taking the stage as a speaker for public lectures. What she's referring to is at the end of September, Min Hee-jin is headlining a sort of like a TED Talk type of festival where she's supposed to be talking about how she's one of the pioneers of the K-pop formula. It's for Hyundai Card. So y'all, if you have a Hyundai Card, maybe you want to call up your representative and say like, I want to cancel my card in protest of Min Hee-jin, or just, take her off of the roster. What's she doing there? What is she doing there? So it's September 27th to the 29th. If you want to know, it's in Itaewon, and it's essentially a promotional event for Hyundai Card, but it's, when a company will fuse their corporate branding with some sort of cultural event. And so it's 3 days of, really cool speakers from art, academia, business, technology, and even Steven Yeun from Minari is going to be there. You better not get a photo with her because, but I don't know. He can do whatever he wants. But there's going to be, a bunch of, celebrities is talking. It's not like a huge deal, but she's saying like, you know what? Take yourself off. And so she is trying to just defend her honor, and she gave even more specifics if you want to hear about the whole sexual harassment thing, because now, how I said the devil is in the details, and Min Hee-jin is trying to use this strategy. You can tell that that the employee is staving off Min Hee-jin's strategy about the actual dinner. So the actual dinner that happened on February 15th, perhaps there wasn't any kind of really huge sexual harassment type of thing that went on, and maybe that's why HYBE also said like, well, there, did something happen, and perhaps there, nothing happened, but she said that is not the main part of my whole filing of what was going on in this workplace. She said that she made like 7 reports. She followed up with 11 more reports. It's about the employee did about workplace harassment and sexual harassment. So that was just part of, one of the examples. And so now you can kind of see like the way that, Min Hee-jin would take in a more of a courtroom type of strategy where like the judges are just so like, I need to focus on something with some teeth to write my little report and kind of ruling to make myself look good. Min Hee-jin would probably try to shift it over to the question of, did sexual assault happen or not on February 15th, and make that the end-all be-all of what is being judged upon there. But the employee, this is why this employee is playing this game very smartly. She's saying like, no, that is not the main thing. That is just one example of many situations that violate what? Not sexual harassment laws, that violate something with the labor law. And this is the smart thing that this employee is doing to trap her. She is making it more about, did Min Hee-jin properly handle this investigation and respond to this investigation? That is what's on trial, not whether sexual harassment occurred. It's just, did Min Hee-jin properly, fairly, and neutrally take care of this situation as Min Hee-jin's role as the CEO? Remember, you gotta focus on the actual battle at hand and keep it to where your weapons work the best, and where your opponent, in this case Min Hee-jin, is the most vulnerable. But it's really the truth and the actuality. So do not get positioned away from the truth. And the truth in this situation, not necessarily about workplace harassment, not necessarily about sexual harassment. It's whether Min Hee-jin responded to the claims of workplace harassment and sexual harassment adequately. And as long as the employee focuses on that, she is in a very good position to win. And in any event, it's a win-win for her, because in the employee's process of presenting her case in this situation, she is reclaiming her reputation, and she is, even if she loses, she gets to restore her reputation and her dignity and know that she fought a good fight. So in this case, this is great for her, because in other cases it's like, gosh, even the process of fighting, I feel like I'm going to be losing and it's going to hurt me either professionally or personally or whatnot. But in this case, the process of fighting itself is going to help this employee. So shadiness all around, but we got to look at examples like this so we could see how other people navigate the details, because you'll always be fighting your devil in the super details. So you better make sure that you're going to be fighting according to the game board, where your details are the players on the board. All right, guys. Well, what do you think? Put your comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.